soon as Halloween premiered in 1978, the film cemented Michael Myers as an immortal horror icon. The story follows a boy who kills his sister at the age of 6, escapes from a mental institution, and returns to the peaceful town of Haddonfield to spread terror. Disturbing as that sounds, it pales in comparison to the chaotic behind-the-scenes story of the film. Would you be surprised to learn that Halloween was written in just 10 days and filmed in a mere 20 days on a budget of less than $300,000? Or that John Carpenter, the director and composer, wrote the entire soundtrack himself to save costs, and that simple piano melody has now become a horror classic? Let's uncover the 20 scariest secrets of Halloween 1978, and you might be shocked to learn that Michael Myers' mask actually originated from Captain Kirk and was bought for just $2. 20. Not a drop of blood on Michael Myers' clown costume. During the splatter film boom of the 1970s, filmmakers often went to great lengths to create convincing, gory scenes using mixtures of corn syrup, red food coloring, cornstarch, and water. However, John Carpenter had to cut costs wherever possible. The result? After 8 stabs into Judith, Michael remained so clean that not a single drop of blood touched his costume, yet it didn't affect the MPAA's strict R rating. Another key reason for the absence of gore was the artistic vision of Irwin Yablans, head of Compass International Pictures. He wanted the film to focus entirely on the characters and precisely timed scare moments rather than over-the-top bloodshed. Michael Myers was shaped as a supernatural bogeyman of Haddonfield, an enigmatic entity moving faster than any normal human, capable of smashing car windows, appearing and disappearing unexpectedly, and even surviving 6 bullets from Dr. Samuel Loomis. This is what made Michael terrifying. Without blood, the audience still felt every stab, every tense moment. When Laurie stabs him in the closet at the film's end, Michael remains unyielding, with not a single wound visible. 19. The entire film was written in 10 days and shot in 20 days. Most films take months to produce. Halloween took just 10 days to write and 20 days to shoot. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill accomplished the seemingly impossible, crafting the entire script for Halloween in under 2 weeks. In just 10 days, they created a haunting world where every step on Haddonfield's quiet streets hid danger. On a shoestring budget of $300,000, the crew worked 6 days a week, shooting up to 13 pages of script per day. Actors constantly changed outfits, and houses and cars were redecorated to double as different locations. Under such time and budget pressure, in 20 days, the team created a horror masterpiece where evil exists in silence, in shadows, and in every audience heartbeat. A story that has made viewers shiver for decades. 18. Michael Myers' mask cost $1.98 and came from Captain Kirk. Everyone is familiar with the iconic Michael Myers mask, but few know it actually originated from a Captain Kirk mask from Star Trek. This was confirmed by Rick Sternbach, a designer for the Star Trek series, who said that Myers' mask was a copy of the Captain Kirk mask used in the 1975 film The Devil's Reign. During the production of Halloween, with a limited budget, the crew sought cost-saving solutions for costumes and props. Tommy Lee Wallace, the film's production designer, bought a Captain Kirk mask from a Hollywood costume store for just $1.98. He then modified it, painting it white, removing hair, eyebrows and mustache, and enlarging the eye holes to create the cold, emotionless look that defines Michael Myers. Were you surprised by this fact? Share your thoughts in the comments. 17. Most of the main cast provided their own costumes. With a tiny $300,000 budget, Halloween faced numerous production challenges. One major hurdle was the lack of funds for costumes. As a result, actors brought their own clothing to save money. Jamie Lee Curtis, playing Laurie Strode, bought her character's entire wardrobe from JCPenney for under $100. She shared that she was given $200 for wardrobe, but actually spent far less. So to say, the characters didn't look like film creations. They looked like high school friends. That realism amplified the horror. The audience didn't just see victims, they saw classmates, friends, babysitters, which made everything 10 times scarier. 16. John Carpenter named many characters after friends or famous figures. Did you know that Michael Myers, the silent, cold killer, was not randomly named? Carpenter drew inspiration from a British film distributor who helped him bring his previous film, Assault on Precinct 13, to international audiences. Laurie Strode, the girl audiences remember for her terrified yet determined eyes, was named after one of Carpenter's ex-girlfriends, creating a subtle but lively connection between real life and the screen. Even Tommy Doyle, the boy Laurie babysits on Halloween night, was inspired by a character in Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, a clever tribute to the master of suspense. Meanwhile, Sheriff Lee Brackett was named after the famous science fiction writer and screenwriter who penned The Big Sleep, Rio Bravo, and The Empire Strikes Back. These names are not just labels, they are pieces of history, tradition, and homage to figures who shaped Carpenter's creative path. 15. Haddonfield and Michael Myers' house were not in Illinois. After its release, Halloween imprinted the town of Haddonfield, the site of Michael Myers' terror, into audiences' minds. However, Haddonfield in the film is not a real Illinois town. It's a mix of reality and fiction. The town was inspired by co-writer Deborah Hill's hometown in New Jersey, but the actual filming took place in California. Moreover, Michael Myers' house, the film's most famous location, was not in Illinois or New Jersey. It is located at 1000 Mission Street, South Pasadena, California. Originally, it stood at 709 Meridian Avenue, but was relocated in the late 1980s for preservation and is now a city landmark. Built in the late 19th century in New England style, it features steep roofs and Eastlake-style windows. Today, the house remains intact and is a must-visit for fans of the film. Other locations were also filmed in various parts of California. For example, the school scenes were shot at Garfield Elementary in Alhambra, while cemetery scenes were filmed at Pioneer Cemetery in Sierra Madre. Nighttime scenes where Michael stalks his victims were filmed on quiet streets in South Pasadena and Hollywood, with few palm trees to avoid revealing the California setting. 14. Jamie Lee Curtis got the role thanks to her mother. Jamie Lee Curtis is the daughter of two famous stars, actress Janet Leigh, who left an indelible mark on audiences with her role in Alfred Hitchcock's classic Psycho, and actor Tony Curtis. With a family like that, Jamie Lee Curtis not only inherited acting talent, but also a proud legacy in the film industry. When John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, the producers of Halloween, were casting for the role of Laurie Strode, they realised that choosing Jamie Lee Curtis was not only about her acting ability, but also a smart marketing strategy. Deborah Hill shared that having Janet Leigh's daughter in the cast would create an intriguing connection to Psycho, while attracting attention from audiences and the media. She said, "I knew casting Jamie Lee would be a great promotional campaign for the film because her mother was in Psycho. At least I knew she had the genes to scream well. Are you impressed with Jamie Lee Curtis in the film? Share your thoughts in the comments below." 13. Michael Myers was played by 3 actors. Few people know that Michael Myers is not only a legendary horror character, but also a combination of 3 talented actors, each bringing a unique aspect to this emotionless killer. Nick Castle, a close friend of director John Carpenter from college, played Michael Myers in most of the scenes. With his silent demeanour and slow movements, Castle created the haunting image of The Shape, setting the standard for future actors portraying the character. In addition, Tommy Lee Wallace, the film's production designer and editor, replaced Castle in certain scenes, particularly the wardrobe attack scene, one of the most tense and memorable sequences in the movie. Finally, Tony Moran played Michael Myers in the film's final scene when Laurie Strode removes his mask. With his face revealed, Moran delivered a chilling glimpse of the killer, making the audience feel the character's cruelty and detachment. Do you find this interesting? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 12. Many studios initially rejected Halloween. Before becoming a horror icon, Halloween was rejected by many major studios because they saw no commercial potential in a low-budget film with a simple plot about a deranged killer. Producers feared audiences would not care and that the project might fail. Only when John Carpenter and Deborah Hill convinced independent producer Irwin Yablans and investor Mustafa Akkad to take the risk did the film get a chance to be released. Yablans, impressed by Carpenter's talent after seeing Assault on Precinct 13, proposed a project about a killer stalking babysitters, initially titled The Babysitter Murders. He also suggested moving the setting to Halloween night to increase appeal and renaming the film Halloween, creating a strong visual link to the holiday. Thanks to Yablans' trust and support, Halloween premiered with a unique style, standing out from other horror films of its time. The film was a huge success, earning $47 million in the US and Canada, plus around $23 million internationally, bringing total worldwide revenue to about $70 million. Adjusted for inflation, this equals roughly $321 million today, making Halloween one of the most profitable independent films of all time. 11. Myers' house was actually abandoned during filming. At the time of filming Halloween, the Myers family house was genuinely abandoned. The footage showing the old, dilapidated house was not staged. It was the actual state the crew happened upon. This desolation naturally created a chilling atmosphere, making the house a horror symbol from the very first scenes. Interestingly, only during the final shot of the last production day, the film's opening scene, did the crew paint the house and decorate the interior, transforming it from an abandoned building into a lived-in home. This transition not only added realism to subsequent scenes, but also highlighted the contrast between the frightening exterior and normal interior, heightening the audience's sense of dread. 10. Carpenter never wanted Michael Myers' story to continue. John Carpenter never actually wanted Michael Myers' story to continue. In a 2014 interview with Deadline, he revealed that after the first film, he felt there was no more story to tell. He said, "All my ideas were for the first Halloween. There shouldn't have been any more." Carpenter did not direct the sequels because he felt there was nothing left to explore with the character. Nevertheless, Carpenter wrote the script for the first sequel, Halloween 2, and served as executive producer for later installments. He also co-composed music for the subsequent films, including Halloween Kills 2021 and Halloween Ends 2022. However, he maintained the view that Michael Myers' story should have ended with the original film. Regarding Halloween Kills, Carpenter returned as composer. In a conversation with director David Gordon Green, he said he updated the soundtrack with his son Cody and grandson Dave Davies to suit a new generation. He shared, "We're having a great time and the film is really fun and good. Which part of Halloween do you enjoy the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below." 9. John Carpenter composed the entire score himself due to lack of budget. When John Carpenter began composing the music for Halloween 1978, he had neither an orchestra nor the budget to hire musicians. With a total film budget of only $300,000, Carpenter composed the score himself in 3 days using a simple synthesizer. He shared, "If you can't afford to show fear, you have to make them hear it." Thus, he created a simple but haunting piano melody in 5/4 time, a technique his father had taught him on the bongos back in 1961. Carpenter's score became an iconic hallmark of the horror genre. Although critics initially paid little attention to the music, audiences were mesmerized by the repeating melody, which built tension and fear. Carpenter used synthesized sounds to craft a minimalist but effective musical space, showing that with creativity, a horror film could achieve greatness without a large orchestra. This score has had a profound influence on the horror genre, inspiring countless musicians and filmmakers since. 8. Donald Pleasance took the role for his daughter. Donald Pleasance initially seemed an unusual choice for the role of Dr. Samuel Loomis in Halloween. As a classically trained British actor with a reputation for villainous roles in Bond films, he could easily have turned down a low-budget horror movie. In fact, horror legends Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing declined the role due to the low pay. Pleasance was initially hesitant, but his motivation came from his daughter, a devoted fan of John Carpenter's earlier film Assault on Precinct 13. After his daughter's insistence, Pleasance accepted the role for only $25,000. Although he admitted he did not fully understand the script at first, he trusted Carpenter and brought absolute seriousness to the role of Dr. Loomis. Thanks to his calm yet haunting performance, the character became a villain who was both realistic and supernatural, adding psychological depth to the film. 7. The TV movie. In the film is The Thing. The scene showing children watching TV features The Thing from Another World, a famous 1950s science fiction film directed by Christian Nyby and produced by Howard Hawks. The film follows a group of scientists and military personnel in the Arctic facing a shape-shifting alien creature. John Carpenter, who directed Halloween, was the big fan of The Thing from Another World. He used it as inspiration for his own work. In 1982, Carpenter directed a remake titled The Thing, starring Kurt Russell. This version adhered more closely to John W. Campbell Jr.'s original story, Who Goes There?, and became a classic in the sci-fi horror genre. 6. Carpenter had to shoot additional scenes. In October 1981, NBC planned to broadcast Halloween during the holiday season. But after cutting nude and violent scenes to meet television standards, the film became too short for the 2-hour time slot. To solve this problem, John Carpenter, co-writer and producer of Halloween 2, oversaw the filming of new scenes during production of the sequel. These added scenes not only extended runtime, but clarified important character relationships. Additional footage included conversations between Dr. Loomis and Laurie, scenes searching Michael Myers' room, and flashbacks to Michael as a child in the mental hospital. A notable scene shows Dr. Loomis discovering the word sister carved on Michael's door, hinting at a blood connection between Michael and Laurie. These scenes not only filled the broadcast runtime, but also deepened the psychological complexity, strengthening the connection between the original film and the sequel. Thanks to these additions, the TV version of Halloween was not only complete in length, but also richer in story, helping audiences better understand Michael Myers' obsession and the danger surrounding Laurie Strode. 5. The film's original title was The Babysitter Murders Before Halloween. Gained its legendary title, the film was temporarily called The Babysitter Murders. The original idea focused on a series of murders over multiple nights, with different girls being attacked at scattered homes. However, producer Irwin Yablans made a crucial decision: to set the entire story in a single night. Renaming the film and condensing the timeline not only increased suspense, but also created an immediate haunting atmosphere. The title Halloween evokes a familiar holiday and joy, while simultaneously hinting at deep-seated fear, a feeling any child can relate to. Suddenly, the attacks were not just random killings, but a terror grounded in context. The fear that evil could stalk and find you on the most haunted night of the year. 3. The book the teacher mentions is entirely fictional. The scene where Laurie Strode sits in class listening to the teacher discuss a completely fictional book adds a subtle layer of meaning. The novel, written by the imaginary author Samuels, tells the story of Collins, a protagonist who cannot escape fate no matter how hard he tries. When the teacher says, "Fate is a very real, concrete thing that everyone must face," it acts as a subtle prophecy of the destiny Laurie will confront with Michael Myers, creating a tense psychological link between the script and the forthcoming action. As Laurie wanders through Haddonfield, unknowingly stepping into danger, Michael Myers stalks her from every corner, outside windows, near clotheslines, behind the station wagon at school, and even passing her while she babysits Tommy Doyle. These fleeting glimpses are carefully arranged, making him appear as an inevitable force of destiny, a supernatural figure known as the Shape. Michael appears stealthily, inching closer to Laurie like a shark in Jaws, creating more suspense than almost any other horror villain. However, the book the teacher refers to does not actually exist. It was entirely fabricated to heighten the sense of fate. 2. The iconic opening scene was filmed in a single take. The film's opening scene is one of the most iconic horror sequences of all time, not only for its tension, but also for its innovative cinematography. The scene was shot continuously in a single take, using POV to put viewers in the mind of the killer, Michael Myers. To achieve this effect, the crew used a Steadicam, a relatively new device at the time, allowing smooth movement without cuts. Some shots, however, employed special techniques such as using the mask to obscure the camera's vision, creating the illusion that the entire sequence was filmed in one continuous take. The opening takes place on Halloween night in 1963 in Haddonfield, Illinois. The sequence begins from Michael Myers' perspective as he wears a mask and carries a knife, entering the house to murder his sister Judith. This scene not only leaves a strong impression, but also establishes the film's signature style, with long takes, minimal cuts, and simple lighting, creating a tense and chilling atmosphere. It is a testament to John Carpenter's creativity and the crew's innovative spirit in crafting a classic horror film with limited resources. Do you find the opening scene memorable? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 1. Alfred Hitchcock's influence is evident in every frame. When Halloween was released in 1978, critics largely ignored it. Many called it cheap, derivative, and even childish. The LA Times harshly stated the film has no notable social value. But audiences felt differently. Theaters were packed, the air filled with rapid breathing and tension that made hearts race. Word of mouth spread like wildfire, turning a modest $300,000 film into a phenomenon with total box office revenue of $70 million, a record for independent films at the time. Halloween's success didn't happen overnight. It became a folk legend built on pure fear and subtle storytelling. When New York Times critic Vincent Canby eventually called it a minor masterpiece, the film officially cemented itself in horror history. Even the harshest critics had to admit, Michael Myers was not just a killer, but an icon of ultimate terror. Alfred Hitchcock's influence is evident in every frame. Carpenter admitted he learned more from Psycho than any film school. Pacing, building slow tension, tracking shots, and even the absence of blood to heighten dread. Hitchcock didn't just inspire, he shaped the entire structure and psychology of the film. Even the casting choice of Janet Leigh's daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis, evokes the horror legend. From early criticism, Halloween became the gold standard of slasher films, proving that low budget does not mean weak cinema. Through a subtle combination of cinematography, sound, and character development, John Carpenter transformed fear into reality, creating a timeless masterpiece. So, we've explored 20 of the strangest facts about Halloween, 1978. This is more than a horror film, it's a phenomenon, a symbol of pure fear and limitless creativity. From Michael Myers' Captain Kirk mask to the iconic single-take opening, from reused fake leaves to John Carpenter's original music, every detail has an intriguing story behind it. Which fact from these 20 surprises you the most? Are you a fan of Halloween, or have you never seen this classic? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to catch more fascinating stories and behind-the-scenes secrets of classic films. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.